Hey, what's up? I'm DJ Sixsmith. Welcome to Sit Down. Meredith Masony is here with us. Ask Me What's for Dinner one more time. Brand new book from her. Meredith, how are you?
I have a book.
There you go. How about
I
that?
wrote it all by myself.
Congratulations on that. How long did it take you to write the book?
I wrote the book. It took about 2 years to compile everything until we were ready. It started in 2018, and then, of course, it went to bed right before the pandemic.
So that was perfect timing to get it in before all that, right?
Well, now I feel like I have to write a book just about the pandemic, so...
What has been the wildest part of the pandemic for you and your family? Because for a lot of other families, it's like a totally new norm. We were talking about virtual learning off air. What has been the craziest part for you and your kids?
I just don't think anybody, whether you're genetically related or not, should spend this amount of time together. I will always love my children, and I've said this time and again, but I don't like them all the time, and they don't like me all the time. And this is a lot of quote unquote quality time for families to go through, especially when it's a forced situation. And then you're trying to do online learning, and then you're still trying to work and survive and live, and with no end in sight. I can only say a little bit longer, a few more times until my kids, it's just like a Lord of the Flies situation. And I think my kids are going to just take over and dig a hole for me somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really difficult to be a parent right now, I'd imagine. But for your kids, what frustrates them the most? Because they're not seeing their fellow friends as much, they're not in school. What are they struggling with the most right now?
They miss, my oldest is lucky because he plays tennis, and that's been one of the okay sports to play during the pandemic because you're on either side of a court and you're outside. My youngest son misses soccer desperately. There is no soccer season in sight, and that is, that stinks for him. And of course, my daughter is really upset because she is starting 6th grade, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Mom, I just can't even believe that I'm not going to get to go to school with all of my other friends. I don't get a locker. I'm not going to get to sit at the lunch table." And I was like, for 9 weeks, I was like, we're going to try it for 9 weeks and see how it goes. But we're in Florida, which now is the epicenter of this. So I was lucky enough to have the choice to say, no, you're not going to school for 9 weeks because I work from home anyway, pandemic or not. So you're staying with me. And they didn't agree with that, but they also don't have a choice and they make no money. So.
Well, I think the other thing too is that you're fortunate that you can work from home, do your thing, make money. A lot of other parents have to go out there to
Yes.
work. So what's it been like just engaging with other parents during this time? Because I would imagine that you get the full gamut of emotional responses in terms of parenting during COVID.
Yeah, because and that's why I really do genuinely use the word blessed to be home, because I am on our page. We have, nurses and female firefighters, police officers. We have CNAs, other people who work in retirement communities, and they're out. They're essential. They're grocery store clerks. They work at Target. Whatever they're doing, they're out and they're in the community, and they're saying, this is really hard. I have to send my kid back. I have no other choice. And that's why we had this, I go live every day at 1:00 to talk, just lay it out there. Everybody's welcome to come in and have a conversation, because this pandemic has been hard for all parents. But we talked about the fact that there are no right choices and no good choices when it comes to school right now, because a parent who has to work, who's an essential employee, they're not getting a choice. They're being forced to place their child in a situation that they may or may not want them in, because they have to go back to work. And that's what life is right now. And that's why people are so stressed out, and they've got the pandemic fatigue, and they're over this. But it doesn't change the fact that coronavirus hasn't gone away. And so you can't let your guard down. You still have to, be smart about what you're doing. And as my husband says, everything is a roll of the dice right now. And that's even more stressful for parents, because as a parent, every decision worries you. Now you're doing that in this pandemic bubble, and you just, your brain is mush,
It's unlike anything we've ever dealt with before, and there's no blueprint, like you said. And clearly there are many, many people who are going through the same circumstances as you and your family. So when did you tap into this whole world where it's like, we need to talk about what we're doing with our kids and what we're doing in marriage and just kind of give me the birth story of the whole That's Inappropriate situation for you.
Well, we started the community back in 2014 after I recovered from a esophageal tumor removal that we thought was cancer, and it wasn't. So I was very lucky. I had to have a couple of reconstructive surgeries, but after that scare, it was actually a gift, because it gave me the courage to kind of do something that I had been wanting to do forever, but I just put it in the back burner because of kids and work and school and life. And I decided that I could be dead tomorrow. Like I need to kind of seize the day here, all that cliche stuff. And so I got out of the hospital in August. I started writing the blog in October. I talk a bit about it in the book. But it was a gift. It gave me this ability to kind of gain perspective and see what was important. And a lot of the stuff that we're told is important isn't actually important. And it gave me the ability to kind of see that. And so now when I want to do something or start something, I find a way to make it work. You know, we've got a podcast. This is my second book. I do videos, I do lives. Before the pandemic, I was doing stand-up, and we were touring and emceeing and hosting events. And so, you know, I love to be with parents. I love to be with moms. I love to lay it all out there, because a lot of what you see on social media is not the way life is at all. And I would much rather give you a glimpse of the dumpster fire that is my life, so that you can feel better about your life. And if that is my gift, if that's what I can give the world, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's one thing to create an alternate reality on social media. It's another thing to do that with your family. So what's it like parsing through the real stuff with like, okay, this is clearly something that was staged and this is totally not legit?
Well, we don't, I watch a lot of YouTube because I own 3 children. And I'll be watching these videos with my kids, and I'm like, that's not real. They staged that. They set that up. This is not what it looks like. And we don't do that. We don't stage things. I do sketch comedy, and the kids will play roles or parts or whatever, but none of us are actors or actresses. Nobody is a trained thespian by any stretch. But I just like to share and bring people in. So if we're, like I said, right before we went for the interview today, I went live on the page. My hair was a disaster. My daughter's barging into the bathroom. I'm trying to brush my hair out so I can come on and do the interview. The dog's running between my legs. That's what life is. And so that's what we let people in on. The only thing that people they want to see my husband, and he is not on camera. Mm. And so that's the people ask over and over again, like, when is your husband going to, because they always hear him, they'll hear him talking, but he just really doesn't have an interest in being on this side of the camera. And so we've kept him off, and people assume that he's either not real, which I've gotten messages about, he doesn't exist, or he's a double secret agent spy for the government. And I was like, he'd probably like that because he watches a lot of that on TV, but he is not.
So you mentioned before focusing on what's most important in your life and ignoring the stuff that really doesn't matter. So what is most important, especially during this time where COVID is in the news and so much crazy stuff? What's most important to you and your family at this moment?
Right now, we've just, for lack of a better term, hunkered down, and we're sharing this journey. We're giving everybody a front row seat to the things that we've experienced and what we've gone through, whether it was we moved in the middle of this.
Oh, wow.
And trying to enroll my kids into school and then not doing it correctly. And now I have 2 out of 3 of my kids going for distance learning, but not all 3 are slated for it. And there's phone call, we're showing them everything that's going on. We want everybody to know that, yes, this is hard. Parenting is hard. Parenting through a pandemic is unprecedented. Nobody's done this before. So if I can help you, if I can be here for you, I go live every day at 1:00. If I can talk to you about some feelings that you're having, if I can share a story with you, because the book is a parenting book, but it's not parenting advice. It's advice light. It's advice-ish. It's me sharing stories so that you can feel better about what you're going through. And if you want to take something from that, be my guest, you might do the opposite of what I did because you're like, that lady's crazy. And that's good too, because that's how we learn, is hearing what other people do. And so I just think right now is the time for parents to kind of get together and let people into the village and say, hey, this is what's working for me right now. Whether it's a new bedtime routine or a new young adult novel series that your kids are reading, whatever you're talking about, it can help somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just important that we share right now, because this time, it's been a very heavy time. And if I can be a little bit of light or a little bit of humor for parents by kind of showing what we're going through and what our day-to-day looks like, I'm willing to do that. And I enjoy doing it because it makes me feel better. Because I remember being the lonely mom who had no friends, who had 3 toddlers and was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing right now? Like, I used to have adult conversations and I don't anymore. And so if I can do that for somebody and kind of be like, I know it's tough right now, but sit down, hide in your closet, come join me live, we'll chat. I'll be in my closet, you be in your closet, it's fine. Because self-care, who's doing that right now? Who's like, what are you doing for self-care right now? I don't even know. I don't have the foggiest idea of what you're doing for self-care right now.
It's all about survival at this point, leaning on each other. And I just appreciate the fact that you let people into your world with your kids. That really helps people. And writing this book, I think, will certainly help people a lot. September 1st, the big day when it comes out.
Yeah, very excited. Very excited.
Beautiful. Well, Meredith, thank you so much. Check out her book. And we'll see you next time. All right, Meredith? Thanks a lot for jumping on.